I'm going to turn it over to Chairman Pitts.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for being with us this evening now, and welcome to what is the 8th and final press briefing for this week. Here in Fulton County, the fat lady has almost sung. All early votes have been counted. All day of votes have been counted. All absentee ballots have been counted. Now, we're concluding the process of counting the provisional ballots, and mine happens to be one of those provisional ballots. We've had a very successful election campaign season. We've learned a lot, and we're prepared for the various runoffs that will be taking place during the month of December, and of course with the senatorial races on January 5th. So again, I'd like to thank Mr. Richard Barron, our Director of Registration and Elections, his staff, but more importantly, the volunteers who really worked in many instances around the clock to ensure that this election season, this November 3rd election would be successful for us. And I'll say again that I had no idea when we first started that Fulton County, Georgia would play the role that it has played and continues to play in determining the next president of the United States of America. Fulton County, Georgia is a big deal. Mr. Barron, Richard Barron, our Director of Registration and Elections.
Hey, good evening. Let's see, we are finishing up the count for provisional ballots and the UOCAVA, which is military and overseas ballots, over at State Farm Arena. We've passed the time, past 5 p.m., which is the deadline to receive those ballots and to cure any of the provisional ballots. We are on track to complete all those and upload them tonight, which we will be doing. Once those are completed, they'll come over here to the ballot review board. And then our team is also preparing for the start of early voting for the December 1st runoff for Congressional District 5. We also have indications that there will be 2 other runoffs, but the early voting for those will begin later in the month. That will happen after certification, but it looks like there could be a runoff for Public Service Commission as well as Senate District 39. Those will happen on December 1st. And then there will be a runoff for at least one of the Senate races on January 5th. We will begin the closeout process, including balancing all the precincts and risk limiting audit in the next few days. The last figure I had with the provisional ballots is we'll probably be uploading 3,812 tonight. I know there were more than 900 overseas ballots that will be also uploaded. And I think one of the things that has been a positive outcome is that a lot of people have great appreciation for all of the work that all of the election workers and the poll workers do, which is positive because there are so many people behind the scenes that do a lot of work that no one really knows about because it takes months to prepare for an election, especially a big one like this. And I want to again thank all of our employees who have put in so much of their time, lost weekends, lost time with family. We had a big COVID outbreak here in the warehouse. 25 people became infected who worked out here. So that brings us to 28 infections this year, and that's hit the staff hard. But we persevered through it and had a successful election day. I also want to read a statement about a video that I'm sure some of you have seen circulating about an election worker that was over at State Farm. I personally spoke to him, and the state election board had a monitor over there who witnessed the whole thing. And I'm just going to read from a prepared statement that we made. But we conducted a review of a video that was uploaded to Twitter, which featured a poll worker assigned to work in absentee ballot processing. According to the video, the worker has been accused of discarding a ballot assigned while being assigned to operating one of the 5 ballot cutting machines. These devices are used to cut the envelopes so that you can then separate the outer envelope from the inner envelope. It's been questioned whether the poll worker featured in the video was discarding one of those ballots. The answer is no, undeniably no. At no time was the poll worker able to extract a ballot. I operated one of those machines. The only thing you do at that station is separating the envelopes and cutting them. The ballot extraction happens at the next stage of the process. And ballot extraction only occurs with the workers who are assigned to those sorting duties. After review of the footage, I contacted him. He is currently in hiding because he's had threats. He's had to shut down all of his social media, and they know all of his personal information was released. Personally, I think it's shameful. He was merely discarding a list of instructions that had been put into one of the envelopes. It was taken and uploaded to Twitter by an individual in the absentee ballot processing area, and that has now resulted in someone having to leave his house and go stay with friends. He's afraid to drive his car because the information about his car and his license plate is out there. The release of the video and its caption led viewers to believe the worker was agitated, which resulted in the worker crumbling and discarding a ballot. However, one thing that you need to know is that those ballots are 8.5 by 19 inches long. In no time did you see him extract anything from the envelope, and that crumpled piece of paper they were instructions, and it was a smaller piece of paper. Voters often include lists of instructions, like the one discarded in the primary absentee ballot envelope, when submitting their ballots in the mail and/or drop boxes. And he was one of the workers that we had who trained everyone how to use those cutting machines because he was very good at it, and he was the fastest one. We depended on him, and he's no longer out there right now. So I told him, I expressed my sorrow in that all of this has happened to him simply for wanting to be an election worker and doing nothing but a good job during that. And so I can take questions now.
Any questions?
What time was the provisional in the overseas be uploaded?
They were still opening and scanning when I left to come over here, so it'll be sometime tonight.
Like overnight, or do you think before midnight?
Oh, I think it's going to be, most of it is complete over there. But they didn't deliver Yuokava until after 5 p.m. over there. So it's going to be, yeah, unless the last accounting that I got was 3,812 provisional. It could be, there was a member of our staff that was doing research on some of them to make sure that some of the rejected ones by staff. She goes through and does a check every election on the rejected ones and does more research to make sure that any of the ones that can be accepted do, because she's got much more experience than the other staff that we bring in to help us during election cycles.
So Darren, thank you. How are you responding to the GOP claims that there was election fraud on election night and that observers were kicked out until the counting stopped? Counting really continued on.
Well, nobody was kicked out. I verified that, and I know somebody from External Affairs was there, and no announcement was made about that. At one point, there was an indication by my staff that they would stop for the night. I told them to keep going until at least 1 in the morning, which is when they stopped over there. But at no time were observers told to leave.
For
Yes, there was a somebody from the state election board was over there, and I think a state investigator went over there as well. So just 1 second. Yeah.
So, you guys have overhauled the way that the election system works because of the pandemic. So, after the virus is wiped out, is the early voting system going to look so robust? I mean, what's changed because of the way you had to adapt to the virus?
Well, I think we have had to, a lot of the procedures that we've had to undertake have changed just because, like for example, all of this equipment, we had to move all of this over to Georgia World Congress Center, which we're going to have to probably do again before the next election just to prepare it, because when you get into, even though there's a lot of circulation in here, when you get a lot of people in a smaller confined space like this, and this isn't even all of our carriers. Some of them are down at another warehouse now. There's just a risk to that. I think what this virus has shown us is that we have to do things a little bit differently. I mean, there are a lot of things that we're doing now that I guess we haven't done before, and honestly, right now, I'm probably too tired to think about everything that we're doing differently, but if you want to talk to me offline, I can sit down with you and go over that. Yes?
Just to be clear, the provisional and call ballots that you're referring to, are they no way being included in any information on the Secretary of State's website? They've not been processed and they've not been included in any numbers on the Secretary of State.
Right. Well, it'll be uploaded tonight. That's correct.
And also, on the ballots that are arriving here at the warehouse, are they going to come, are they going to be in sections, or is everything already here?
I think the ballot review committee is already meeting, so I think they did an upload earlier and they might have sent partial results over here, and then the rest of them will come tonight, because they were to meet at 2:30, so I think they sent something over for them to review.
Aaron, it was a mammoth task to get those ballots counted this week. On average, how many ballots were these workers turning over per hour?
I think at most times it was around 3,000. That's probably about the average.
Any other questions?
I know it was at least 900. And that came over the last couple of days, the last, I think, 2 or 3 days. There are already UOCAVA in the absentee. We don't hold them until the end. But we receive them we can receive them up until today. So anything that was received in the last couple of days, that's what's coming out tonight.
Understanding, I asked this the other day, how many ballots might have just been snagged by USPS, and the deadline's approaching for ballots to be received. Is there anything stuck in the mail that's just never going to be counted?
I don't know. I mean, look, what I do know from talking to people at the Postal Service over several weeks ago is that the Postal Service seemed to me to be as committed to getting those ballots to us as anyone. So I don't want to, cast aspersions on the Postal Service for something that I believe they were trying hard to do, which was to get the ballots to us. I don't know what happens in their system, but I think that would probably be better directed to them.
Is there a scenario where Fulton County's total would be different at all, or with any significance with the recount?
Well, it just, when you're going to recount, I think, I haven't looked at what our final results are, but I think we're somewhere up in the 520,000 range right now, and I would expect that, I've never seen a recount with any kind of volume where the results don't change by a few here and there. So it wouldn't surprise me. And I think the last time we did a recount here was probably 2017 mayoral. And I believe we had an 11 vote difference in that. So it wouldn't surprise me if something changes. That's a lot of ballots.
Talk a little bit more about the poll worker who's been targeted. Is Fulton helping protect this guy? Has there been threats sent to your office?
We haven't had any threats sent to the office, although, and I did talk to him about that, and I think there's been some preliminary discussions about whether or not we need to do something to give him some sort of protection, but I don't want to get into that right now.
If there are no more questions, thank you all for coming.
Thank you very much.